YouTube, good evening. Happy Wednesday night, hump day. Um, I have to tell you, I've been more excited, I think, to do this video than I have in quite a while. I get pretty stoked on trade boxes. I get pretty stoked after grabbing big lots of cars from Toy Pimp. Those types of videos I get pretty stoked about. Most of the time, though, it's just a video. But this video, I am pretty stoked about. I on my lunch today, there's a Walmart right next to my work, and I was late. However, I did find something. So I'm going to make a video and show you what I found. As you can see, 8,800 pieces worldwide. This is the civilian Hakosuka Skyline, 1971 Nissan Skyline GTR. I was able to find 2 of these. So this one will stay in the package. I'll probably end up trading that. Also, I wanted to say thank you to everybody. I just passed 2,000 subscribers today, and I think I'm going to do a giveaway. So I'm going to mull it over and see what I can come up with. I'm not going to wait till 2,500, so I'll be announcing something at some point. Anyways, let's take a look at what I found, because as you all know, if you've watched my videos, I'm fairly critical of M2. You can find a decent amount of these premium detailed Hakosuka Skylines, and I'm going to talk about that here later in this video. It is almost impossible to find them with opening hoods. Matter of fact, the only other company that I know of that does it is shoot, I can't even remember the name now. But there is a company out of, I think it's out of Japan, that specializes in it. So with that said, I've been skeptical about these cars, and I've seen the artwork and press releases and stuff like that, and they've looked really good. Excuse me. I have to say I'm very impressed with what M2 has done with these cars. So let's take a look at this Hako Skyline. There's your front end. Really nice detail here. Now, I have my concerns with these being M2, with the reputation that they have of pieces falling off. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, but there's your back end detail. It looks great. I mean, it really does look great. And authentic to the car, you can see the rear fender is flared with a black painted accent. The front fender is not. That is authentic to the Hako Skyline. Just to show you a comparison. Now, there are so many factors that I want to talk about. But here is essentially the same car from Kyosho, and you can see same thing. Flared back fender, painted black, no flare on the front fender. Now, I think Kyosho does a better job with the Surfline, which is basically the Nissan Skyline trademark. That Surfline is the Skyline, and this one is less definitive. It is still there, it's just less defined. From what I understand, though, M2, the designer, I don't know the guy's name. It's one guy that designs all their cars, from what I've heard. I'm under the impression that Japan Nostalgic Cars collaborated and worked with him to get this set put together. So this set is a Walmart exclusive. There is another 6-car set coming out through M&J Toys. I've got mine on pre-order. I'm going to order a sealed inner of those. These are brand new. When I checked at lunch after I grabbed these, there were none of these even listed on eBay yet. So, going to be interesting to see what happens. But there are things I like better about the Kyosho. There are things I like better about the M2. I think it's really cool that M2 went to the trouble to put the fender mirrors on. Kyosho does that on some models. This particular model they did not. However, I have a beads collection. I think it's a beads collection. Or no, it might be... It's another Kyosho premium release that does have fender mirrors. So some of them have it, some of them don't. I think the Kyosho front end looks better. It's a cleaner look. I think the back end, I haven't looked at them side by side, but off the top of my head, I think they're both pretty close. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty close. I think maybe the Kyosho's a little bit nicer. I do like not having the spoiler on the M2. So, very cool. Another big concern that I had was the scale. Because M2s typically run a little bit big. However, in this particular case, I think they're pretty close. They might be just a tad big, but not much. I mean, it's really not that noticeable. These Japanese cars, historically, are smaller than your American cars of the same time frame. So, if I were to put this 1971 Skyline up to like a 1971 Cuda or Challenger or something like that, the American car is going to dwarf the Japanese car. And that's just a historical known fact, so to speak. So, anyways, an amazing job by M2. I'm gonna hand it to him. So that's your Hakko Skyline. Now let's take a look at some of the other stuff that I was able to find. And again, same thing with the 510. Opening hood. It's very uncommon. Man, I've got a frog in my throat. Very uncommon to find premium Datsun 510s. In fact, I don't know of any. This is the only one that I know of that has an opening hood. Not only does it have an opening hood, but it actually looks really good. I mean, the engine looks good. The hood closes really nice. It lines up really nice, especially by M2 standards. They just did a really good job on this car. Now, I'm not a fan of the white wall tires. That is authentic to the car. However, M2 struggles making circles. So what I've done, and I'm going to do it on this side, but I've turned the tires around. So I will do that to the other side as well. Man, I apologize for the cough. I have a glass of water. Anyways, this 510, or Bluebird, I should say, looks fantastic. Some really great detail. I mean, it just looks great. These cars are really impressive. So, I do have some other premium models to compare this with. Start here with the Konami. which M2 has a metal base. Most of the import Japanese stuff is plastic base to keep costs down. The detail, this is tough. I don't know. I think probably I like the Konami a little bit better, but you can definitely feel a difference. There's more substance to the M2. I like the fender mirrors on the M2. That, by the way, fender mirrors is not easy to do. It is not an easy thing for M2 to do. It's not an easy thing to do in general, which is why you really don't see a lot of it with Kyosho or Tomica Limited Vintage. Tomica Limited Vintage will do it, and they'll throw them in the box, and they'll say, you attach them. They don't want to do it because it's not an easy thing to do. So, but there's your side-by-side. You can see the scale is very, very close. Now I have another premium model to also compare with here. So the one on the right is a Tomica Limited Vintage. The one in the middle is Konami. The one on the left is your M2. So I was kind of concerned with how they were going to do for the scale, but I have to say they did a really good job. The wheels aren't the best in this particular case, but I'm not going to hold that against them. For the price point, I think they did a great job. You're not going to find either of these two cars for $6. I can tell you that right now. The chances of you finding one of these out in the wild they're not going to be easy to find. Somebody made a comment on my Instagram about that. I know you find M2s that are limited to 8,000 that are sitting on the shelves at Walmarts across America. They're domestic models that M2 has put out in 20, 30 different colors. People are sick of that. They don't want to buy that anymore. These cars we've never seen. So I can assure you these are not going to be easy to find. I don't think these are going... I could be wrong, but my guess, these are not going to ever sit on the shelf. I was very surprised, though, because I'm assuming I was the second one there. So that's your Bluebird. I'm assuming I was the second one there because the race cars were gone. So I was only able to get the civilian models, and the Skylines were hidden, but luckily I was able to find them. Here is the Fairlady Z. I love what they did with the opening hoods. I've seen a lot of people complaining that they're doing these in the style of the auto drivers, where the doors don't open. I was so happy to see that. I was so happy to see that. If you keep the doors closed within the casting, or non-articulating, it's going to give it a far more authentic look. And it's going to give it the potential for far less issues. So I don't mind that the hood opens. I was a little bit, I was kind of questioning how they were going to make that happen, because they open just like the actual car did. They open from the windshield back, kind of like well, let me just say this. It opens like that, or it opens like this, and this is not a new thing for M2. They've done this before. For all you collectors, you know what car I'm talking about. There might be more than one, but there's only one that I can think of off the top of my head, and that is the Chevrolet Corvette. So insert lensed headlights on this car. You got the Z logo on the hood. You do have your fender side view mirrors. You have your steel, black steelies. Really nice trim around all the glass. The back end on this one looks really good. Brake lights, indicators, reverse lights. Fairlady Z. Just a really, really cool car. So, surprisingly though, I was actually able to get the Fairlady race car. So the Safari, Bluebird, and the Skyline race cars were gone. The two civilian race cars were hidden. Luckily, I found them. And then there was one of each of the Fairlady civilian and the Bluebird civilian. So I was lucky enough to at least get one. One of the race cars. I'm going to track down the other two. I'll buy them on eBay if I have to, for whatever the market price is. Those are cars that I will have in my collection. Anyways, this Fairlady race car looks so awesome with the graphics. The Japan Nostalgic Cars is no longer a Hot Wheels exclusive license. As you can see there on the quarter panel, M2 has signed up with them. And those are the guys, from what Lamley was saying, that helped out with the design of these cars. So the race car here and the civilian car, I'm sure you can see some of the differences. The big difference as far as the body goes is the race car does not have the bumpers, which I think with this particular paint job and livery is an awesome look. It looks really good that way. This is the one car that I thought, in looking at them, looked like it might be a little bit more off, because this is a really hard car to get right in this scale, and that's why I think TLV smashes it with this one. Even Kyosho's Fairlady, there's something about it that doesn't look right in this scale, in my opinion. But this one and this color with this livery, I think it looks really good. Here's the back end without the bumper, so you can see the holes where the bumper would be inserted. So those are going to be there, but so the Bluebird and the Fairlady each had chase cars numbered to 750, and then the Skyline was the Super Chase, the Raw. Obviously, if there was a chase at my Walmart, I missed it. They got 2 inners, and both of them are completely gone now. So I feel stoked that I was able to find these cars. I didn't think I was going to be able to. So I'm just happy that I got what I got. So while we're looking at these Fairladies, I don't have a Tomica Limited Vintage any longer. And the Kyosho that I have is packed, so I'm not going to get it out. But I do have the Konami. And the Konami it's a nice casting. I don't know what it is about the wheels or the stance on it, or something just looks a little bit off. But you can see from a scale standpoint, the M2s measure up very nice. Very comparable. And I almost think the back end on the... well, here, let's take a look, and you guys be the judge. I almost think I would give the edge on this one to M2. I think the overall car from M2 looks better than the Konami in this case. I like the Bluebird better from Konami, but I like the Fairlady better from M2. Now, I showed you, well, let me take these out, and we're going to go back to the Skyline, because this is my favorite car of the release. I need to get the race car. This just looks so awesome. Now I showed you the Kyosho, which is also a really awesome little car, but I do have I do have the Konami Hako as well. Let me move these ones out of the way. Now there are some big differences between the Hako and the Konami Kyosho and M2. I think my first preference would be Kyosho, but Konami, as nice as their cars are, I think this is one of their weaker models that they've put out. And same thing with their Ken Mary. Now this one has a bent back bumper. I got it that way, so I don't know what happened to it. But in this particular case, I think the M2 is not just nicer, but I think it's a lot nicer. And I don't think, you know, while I like the Kyosho better, I don't think it's a whole lot nicer than the M2. But as critical as I've been of M2 diecast on my channel, I cannot sit here with all the videos I've made of TLV and Konami and Kyosho and all those import brands and sit there and talk about how awesome those cars are. I can't sit here and do that and not give M2 credit for this release. They really did a great job with this release. It is, I don't know if I'd say it's their best, because that's a stretch. They put out a lot of really nice stuff, and I think I'm just biased towards the JDM stuff because I'm so burnt out on all the domestic stuff. But this is the first release from them that I think they've really put some thought into. The only other release in the 3 years I've been collecting that seems like they did that with was the Volkswagen trucks. The rest of them, it's like they just say, okay, we're going to do these 6 cars, we're going to do them in these 6 colors, go. They don't ever seem to sit down and work on it, you know? And with this, you can really tell that there was a lot of effort that went into this. And my criticism of it would be, and this is just an opinion, it has nothing to do with what they did or how they did it. It has more to do with the decisions that they made. I would have really liked to have seen the Ken Mary Skyline, but, you know, that's just me. I would rather see the Ken Mary Skyline than either of these 3 cars. Or maybe just see a 6-car set with 6 different cars. I think that would have been pretty cool too, because you could have done the Hako, you could have done the Ken Mary, you could have done the Fairlady, you could have done the 510, and I'm sure you could have found a couple of other Datsuns. You know, you could have done a 2-door Bluebird, a 4-door Bluebird. You could have done a Skyline wagon or something like that. That would have been awesome. But you know what? The thing is, in the grand scheme of things, with the JDM craze taking off like it has, just in the last 3 years that I've been collecting, I've been screaming for this for so long, and I know a lot of other collectors have too. So it's just awesome to see a diecast company listen to what the people are saying. And Greenlight is doing it too, but I'm really not anticipating that release that much, because, I mean, really, it's only going to be a Fairlady and an R34. That's all they're bringing out. They're not going to bring out a Bluebird. They're not going to bring out a Hako Skyline or even a Ken Mary Skyline. It's just going to be a Fairlady Z and an R34 Skyline. And it's nice that they're expanding their catalog, but it is a little bit of a bummer that it's only going to be 2 toolings, I think. And same thing here with M2. Now, with the popularity of JDM right now, I think M2 is going, and with all the money that they probably spent licensing these models, I have a feeling we are going to see a lot of this stuff coming out. So these 6 particular cars might not be that easy to find, but I think over the next year to 2, there's going to be so many different releases of these that that you should have no problem at least getting yourself some examples of each casting, because they're not going to spend this kind of money to license these models and then just put them out a few times. I don't think that, I mean, I don't know, but to me that doesn't make a lot of sense. So anyways, super stoked about this. It's a rare occasion where I actually get more excited about the M2 release than I do the Greenlight release, because both of those JDM releases have been highly anticipated, and it is just awesome to finally see it come to fruition. And I think the execution by M2 was awesome. On a scale of 1 to 10, factoring price, quality, the amount of detail, scale accuracy, factoring all of these things in, I think I would score this a 9 out of 10. So here, that back row is the new M2 models, and then everything up front is Konami, Kyosho, Tomica Limited Vintage. So you can see they fit right in. They look as good or better. So nice job, M2. Thank you everybody again for the 2,000 subscribers. I'll be announcing a giveaway in the next couple videos. I do have another video I'd like to do. I wasn't planning on finding these today, so this is kind of an unexpected, unplanned video, but it's definitely an awesome video to get to make. I'm sure that I'm sure there's going to be a number of these videos popping up on YouTube here over the next few days. But if you get to your Walmart, try to get these while you can, because they're going to fly off the shelf. I really do believe that these are going to be tough to find. And if you're unable to get a set of these, then go on to eBay and get yourself the M&J exclusive. It's the same 3 cars, same thing. 2 variations of each car, a civilian and a racing. You can get those right now on pre-order on eBay for like 45 bucks shipped. So not a bad deal, and that would guarantee you at least that 6-car set without having to fight all of the scalpers that you know. I was kind of frustrated this morning because I got up and I went to work, and I see everybody who doesn't go to work posting stuff, and it's like, man. And you know, it's maybe they have jobs and they just have the day off or whatever the case is. I'm not going to judge, but it was frustrating. So when I got there on my lunch and saw that I was lucky enough to find a few, I was stoked. Because if you've watched my channel, you know that my favorite thing to collect outside of Johnny Lightning and Greenlight is premium detailed JDM diecast. Kyosho, Tomica Limited Vintage, Konami, and anything like that. So, all right. Thank you for watching. I will holler at the next video. It will be Johnny Lightning.